BMW practically invented the compact luxury SUV with the original X3 back in 2004. Now, since then, this segment has exploded to become one of the hottest markets here in the States. Now, because of that, the company has been forced to redesign the X3 in order to keep it competitive, which is exactly why I'm standing by the all-new third generation model. Now today I'm back out here in Portland, Oregon with the rest of the members of the AVA for our annual Best Performance Cars and Best Performance SUVs. Now this is the M40i, a 355 horsepower turbocharged 6-cylinder, but I know the big question is the X3 still at the top of its game? That's what we're here to find out. It's no secret that BMW is a little bit hesitant when it comes to changing the design of their vehicles when it comes time for a redo. As you can see with the new generation X3, it's a little bit difficult to tell that this is an all-new model, and really only BMW purists will see the differences. I actually think the new X3 is a particularly handsome crossover, especially in this M40i version. You can see it's got its own unique front fascia trim to show it off as the high-performance M Sport model. The grille has been painted a satin nickel finish. You have standard LED headlights with a full adaptive automatic headlights available as an option. Down here you can see there's LED fog lights, and then there are some of the openings you see here at the bottom. Some of them are functional, some of them look to be a little bit on the faker side, but overall, I think it's a pretty clean and handsome design. Now, if you guys remember, the original X3 was a lot smaller because it was BMW's smallest crossover. Now that the X2 and X1 are in the lineup, BMW was kind of able to move this up market, which is why they made it bigger for this third generation. Now, the M40i version will come with these 20-inch wheels. These are optional wheels. They're $900. They're wrapped in 245 series tires. They look really nice. If you guys think those are too small, they do offer a 21-inch wheel for those of you who want a little bit bigger rims. Now, in terms of the size, its wheelbase now at 115 inches long is about 2 inches longer than the old one, and about 186 inches long. It's also 2 inches longer. This is roughly the same size as the new Acura RDX that I showed you, and it's a really nice looking crossover from the side. I do like this blue color with the wheels, with the blue brake calipers. You do get that only on the M40i version. Now at the rear of the new X3, this is where you're going to notice that the design is a little bit different versus the previous generation. I like the LED taillights that you get on this model with the satin finish on the badges, the M40i. Down here you also have a nice sport-tuned black finish exhaust. I'll let you guys take a listen to that really quick. And surprisingly, even though this isn't a full-on M model, the exhaust sounds pretty good. It's got that typical BMW straight six sound. Now, a power liftgate, of course, is included with this trim, and the BMW X4 has one of the biggest cargo areas in the class. You're looking at just under 29 cubic feet of space with the seats up. That's roughly 10 more than what you get in the GLC, this car's main competitor. If you fold down the seats, BMW offers about 62 cubic feet of space, so that's nearly as much as what you get in the Volvo XC40, XC60, and the new Acura RDX. Now underneath here, there is no temporary spare. BMW does offer that as an option, which you can get from the factory for like 150 bucks. Moving on to the interior of the new X3, let's first talk about the key fob. This is the top of the trim line, so it does come standard with BMW's smart key access system with push button start. Here's the current key fob I've shown you on other BMWs. It feels nice and sturdy. It's a slightly strange shape, but like every other system with intelligent access, just walk up to the car. This looks like the button to open the car, but it's actually not. There's a little ridge portion here. On the inside, that will lock the car if you touch it. And then when you want to unlock it, just touch the back of the handle, the car will beep, and that will unlock the door for you. Now, my Tester has this really attractive shade of brown leather. It's slightly brownish orange. It definitely goes well with the blue exterior color. And BMW has been working hard to kind of improve their interior, make it a little bit more interesting. The seats are only heated, surprisingly. I'm not entirely sure if they offer cooled seats. I'll have to double check that, but this one didn't have that on the options book. I know some competitors offer cooled seats. The seats are also like 15 or 16-way power adjustable. You can adjust the bolsters to squeeze you and whatnot. They are comfortable, and overall the interior makes a great first impression. Now, stepping inside, you can see it has that nice easy step-in height that you expect in a vehicle like this, and the interior again makes a fairly nice impression. There's lots of stitching everywhere. There's a real aluminum trim. You can also change this out to wood if you'd like. And then when you shut the door, it sounds relatively solid when it shuts. I wasn't really expecting anything less. This is an all-new platform. Now, to start the vehicle up, just put your foot on the brake and then push this button here, which kind of annoys me because it's kind of tilted strangely, like this direction. But anyways, push the button here, it'll start right up for you. Now, surprisingly, just for being an M Sport model, listen to the way this sounds. It's a nice sounding engine, and to be honest, I just reviewed the new M5 yesterday, and it doesn't sound as good as this on the inside. On the outside, it sounds great. This also sounds great on the outside, but BMW does really well with their 6-cylinder engines. But moving on to the interior, you can see there's lots of nice stitching and soft touch plastics or leatherette material on the dashboard. It's even soft touch down here and then soft touch on the glove box door. The door handles also have the same soft touch material, which is nice. You have some aluminum trim with a aluminum accented door handle. You have 2-person memory seats. The windows are express up and down for all 4, which is what you expect. And then if you want, you can fold in the mirrors electrically from this button here. The steering wheel, I'm really shocked that it's not power tilt telescoping. So if you want to adjust it, it's a manual adjustment. I really expected that, especially at this price point. Some competitors offer that as standard, as a feature. Lexus, for example, comes to mind with the NX. I do like the steering wheel, the way it looks. It's got these nice paddle shifters. It's got really nice leather, nice bolstering extension. It is a heated steering wheel as well with all these buttons on it. As you can see here, these empty buttons are for the adaptive cruise and the lane keep that you can get as an option that my Tester doesn't have. Now, over here, you can see this is the 10-inch iDrive display. This is the iDrive 6.0. It does include wireless Apple CarPlay as a $300 option, and it also has a wireless charger down here as a $500 option. You can see here, it works very well. Really like the new iDrive system. It's one of the best in the business. The navigation display, if you go here, you can see BMW does a pretty good nav display as well. And I also like the fact that it's a touchscreen, or you can use the rotary controller here with lots of shortcut buttons. This also has a handwriting pad. So their system here works very well. It looks great. It also has the gesture controls, which were added for the 6th generation model. Always a really nice feature to have. Down here, it's very traditional in terms of the design with the vents, with the traditional hard buttons. There's a volume knob there, your actual preset buttons there, so I appreciate that. You can see heated seat controls are over here, no cooled seats, as I said before, which is surprising considering the price point. Dual zone or 3-zone climate control, lots of hard buttons, wireless charging pad is there, USB, and then cup holder there. You can also close this up if you want to hide your phone, which is nice. The gauges, BMW has been working hard to improve the gauges and make them a little bit more interesting. It's an all LCD with the actual ring staying put there. So it's not quite as customizable, but I do like the fact that they've kind of retained their simple BMW look, yet brought it into a more modern feel. I will be looking forward to testing things like the new 8 Series that give you an even more upscale looking cabin versus this car. Now, when you put the vehicle into reverse here, you're going to see it has a 360 camera system, which again gives you really impressive views. You have front and rear parking sensors, you have trajectory, which is always nice. This car also does offer self-parking, so it has perpendicular and parallel parking, which is nice. Down here you can see this is your transmission selector. As you guys saw, you kind of just push forward for reverse, pull back for drive, and then you can go to the right, push P for park over there. This is a nice padded area here for your armrest. It also provides a good amount of storage. It's lit in there. It's got another USB port, which is nice. This doesn't adjust or anything like that. The panoramic sunroof is a standard feature on the X3, which is also a great option. Really lets in a lot of light. And then opening the glove box here, it's a little bit small, but it is damped. It's lined with felt. Now, overall, I'm really happy with the interior of this car. I think BMW has done a good job with making it feel roomy, with giving you the tech that you'd like, making comfortable seats. And I think a lot of people are going to like what they see when they drive the new X3. Now, another strong area for the new X3 is in the second row space category. As you can see getting back here, It's a pretty nice environment. Now, I wish, one thing I noticed, the door doesn't open quite as wide as some competitors, so that could be a problem if you guys are trying to get a car seat in the back. But once you get back here, you can see a pretty good amount of legroom. Now, the floor here is not completely flat like the new RDX. That's for the drive shaft tunnel, but you do have a pretty good amount of foot space underneath here, and I can stretch my legs pretty well. This is where I had the seat to drive. In terms of features, there's rear seat air vents, there are heated rear seats, and then your own set of climate controls for the rear, so that's 3-zone. And then overall, the materials, soft touch with the stitching up here, soft touch down here. I really like this interior color. It just really pops with this car. And if you fold this down here, you do have a nice little armrest with 2 cup holders in the back, which is definitely nice. And then for power, BMW only gives you a standard power outlet here. There's actually no USB charging port, which surprised me. But overall, combine it with the Pano sunroof that this car comes standard with, it's a pretty nice place to spend time. So the back seat is one of the best in the segment for sure. Underneath the hood of the new X3, for now, BMW offers a choice of 2 engines here in the US. The base motor is the 30i, which has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It sounds all right. This is probably the motor you want if you guys want a little bit more performance. This is the company's 3-liter turbocharged straight 6, an inline 6-cylinder engine. It's basically the N55 engine, the same motor that you find in the BMW M2. Now, compared to last year's X3 with the older engine, this makes 355 horsepower and 369 foot-pounds of torque. That's 55 more horses than the previous generation. So it's a nice, healthy jump. Now, as you guys know with BMWs, they typically feel underrated, so I am looking forward to getting this out on the road. Now, xDrive all-wheel drive is standard on this particular model. They do offer an S-Drive, which is rear drive on the 2-liter 4-cylinder. It all goes out through an 8-speed ZF-sourced automatic transmission, and fuel economy is actually not as bad as you'd think. This is rated at 20 in the city, 27 on the highway on premium gas, of course. That's roughly 2 mpg better than what you get in the Mercedes and the Audi SQ5, so BMW has that down. Surprisingly, this vehicle will also tow a maximum of 4,400 pounds, so it does have that capability as well. Curb weight is around 4,400 pounds, so it's a little bit on the heavier side, but with that 8-speed automatic, let's get it on the road and see how it performs. So the X3 is definitely quickly becoming BMW's best-selling model. Last month, they did about close to 5,000 units. I think year to date last year, they also moved a little over 40,000 units. So it's a little bit behind the Lexus and the Acura, but that's to be expected. This is a more expensive car. Now, this new generation, BMW really stepped up their game in terms of the handling, the interior, so I am looking forward to trying out this 6-cylinder model. Let's put it into its sport setting here for Sport Plus, and then put our foot down. Wow. So this engine, as I said, basically comes out of the M2. It's not the same engine in the M3, which is the S55. This is the N55. But I think this motor actually sounds better than the S55. I did briefly drive like an M3 earlier this year, and I wasn't really happy with the way it sounded. It just sounds so synthesized. But this engine, it sounds synthesized, but it's a good sound. Like from the nice sound from the exhaust to the nice induction hell on the interior. The X3, this new one, drives really nice, so I'm actually really surprised. It's a nice, refreshing surprise to see how good this drives, but let's see if this thing has launch control. It's not a full-on M model, which I'm surprised BMW hasn't released yet. There's rumors that they're working on it. Let's put the stability control into its traction control off, and then floor the accelerator and the brake. Wow. Wow, this thing sounds great, and it pulls hard. Now, 0 to 60 times, I've seen it at as quick as 4.4 seconds. I think BMW says it's like 4.6, but this thing is fast. I just drove the GLC 63 AMG, and it's only about a half second quicker to 60 than this, and that has a big V8 with like an extra 110 horsepower. So this is really impressive, but what really impresses me about the new X3 is the handling of this car. It's got really sharp steering, and it just keeps wanting to pull. This is incredible. It's got really sharp steering. It's got a really compliant suspension. Even though it's in its firmest setting right now, this one has the M adaptive suspension. It just sounds really good. It handles well, has really good steering feel. So I'm really impressed. And the transmission is really quick and smooth, and you hear those little pops from the exhaust. So I'm surprised with the exhaust and how this thing sounds. Wow, this thing is really fast. I don't see the need for an M version, honestly. I'm pretty happy with the way this this drives. I couldn't imagine if they do come out with an M version of this with like an extra 100 horsepower, how fast this thing would be. BMW really does underrate their engines, and you feel that in this new X3. It feels a lot quicker than the SQ5 that I drove, and it feels a smidge quicker than the GLC 43 that I drove last year, but the ride quality is so much better. The handling is a little bit better. It doesn't beat you up as much. It sounds good, almost as good as the Mercedes, but the interior feels a little bit more spacious. You have more cargo space, you have more rear seat legroom, and although the interior doesn't feel quite as luxurious, this is pretty much on par with the Audi SQ5 that I drove. Audi just really needs to do something with the SQ5. It is about a half second slower to 60 than this. It doesn't handle as well. It feels a little bit softer, a little bit bigger. But let's go over to the comfort mode here. We'll turn the stability control back on. And the car really will settle down. Now, in terms of the road noise, it is a little bit higher because of these summer performance tires that are on it. But when you guys are just driving the car normally, it reminds you that this is, again, a luxury car. It needs to be a luxury car, but it'll still have some fun when you guys find a back road, some twisty roads, to really impress anyone who's never driven an X3 in general. Even in its comfort setting, this car still has plenty of power, and you don't even need to dip into the throttle that much to access that power. The transmission shifts how I expect it to. It's quick shifting in sport mode, yet smooth and responsive when you're just in regular drive. And it's one of the best transmissions in the industry. There's really a lot to like with this new X3. I'm figuring out that it's, BMW has really learned. I mean, they were one of the first to introduce a compact SUV to this segment, and it really shows. They've addressed the ride quality issues. They've retained the roomy interior of the X3, but they've really refocused their vehicles and brought back sporty, fun-to-drive performance. And for a crossover, this thing just drives like a tall sedan. Like it has very little body lean. It's quick to accelerate. It sounds good. And this is exactly the kind of car that an enthusiast needs if they have to jump on that SUV bandwagon, because it honestly just makes the whole experience a lot better. Now, I can't really test fuel economy in these kind of environments because I only have the car for literally like an hour to two to drive. But at 2026, it seriously gets better gas miles than a lot of its competitors by 2 to 3 mpg. And BMW has always been really good at that. They've really been able to improve the fuel economy with their efficient dynamics tagline, although I don't really see anything super efficient about this. This is more about M performance, and even though it's not a full-on M car, you really see traces of that M lineage when you drive this car, and it's just a better overall package than what you get in a lot of the German competition. When the original X3 came out, it was pretty rough around the edges. The main complaint that I had with the first model was its very rough ride quality. As you guys saw from the test drive, BMW has really addressed that issue, and they've created an SUV that's very refined, very well-rounded, and it will appeal to a lot of buyers who are shopping in this segment. It's got a comfortable interior, a spacious backseat and cargo area. It's quick, it sounds great, it handles nicely. It seems like BMW has found their mojo back and brought back the ultimate driving machine into their vehicles once again. So with all that in mind, how does the X3 compare against its competition? Well, I'd probably say the RDX is the closest to being as well-rounded as this, although Acura doesn't offer the performance that you get with this M40i. This definitely has a better ride quality than the Mercedes GLC 43, and in terms of the Audi SQ5, this is quicker, handles better, so I probably would choose this one as well. Really, it comes down to the Volvo. The Volvo is a little bit more of the luxury trim, and it has a slightly nicer interior, but I really like the sound and the handling that you get with the BMW. So if you guys are looking to purchase the all-new X3, what's it going to cost to put this in your driveway? Well, a base 2-liter model, the 30i, starts at around $41,000. Add $2,000 if you guys want all-wheel drive. So it's right in line with its competition. This one is considerably more. It's about $15,000 more to go for the M40i. This one starts at $54,900, which is again a couple thousand actually less than what you're going to pay for the Mercedes GLC AMG, right in line with the Audi SQ4. This one here has a few options on it, the most expensive being the executive package for $3,000, $2,500 for the premium package, $900 for the wheels, the wireless CarPlay, the wireless charging. This one here stickers for around $65,000, which I know is a lot of money. Crossovers are getting like pretty expensive, but keep in mind that a lot of the competition, particularly the Volvo and the Mercedes, they'll easily kiss $70,000 for a fully loaded model. This one here is just missing the full driver assistance tech, as you guys saw, for like an extra $2,000. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview. on this 2018 BMW X3 M40i. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.